Hello, good morning, and welcome to the most recent edition of the Bearded Tyke. Today I'm joined by my two most regular guests with Anne and Dan. Thanks both of you for jumping on.
No problem, Ryan. Morning, guys.
Pleasure as ever.
Cheers, Dan. Cheers, Anne. So, an away win, boys. An away win. First one since November. It was the day actually I came back from Cyprus. Came back from holiday. Came back very late on the Friday night, and we got up on the Saturday morning and went to Donny, and that's the last time that we've had an away win. So is it first in 8 or first in 9? Anyway, whatever it was, very very welcome 3 points. So half 12 kickoffs have not historically been our friend, and neither has played at Brisbane Road. So it was a bit of a turn up for the Bucks, really. The fact that we played with an half 12 kickoff, playing away at Leyton Orient, we've come away with 3 points. But that said, couple of interesting. So I'll come to you first, Dan. Lineup, couple of interesting changes in there with Banksy missing out and Shep being dropped. What were your thoughts, pal?
Well, I think at the time when I saw the lineup, I didn't originally see out wrongly. I don't think I looked at it right first time round, and then I saw a few messages going. I thought, oh, hang on, Scott Banks ain't playing. Oh, Shepherd ain't playing. But yeah, no, I think Shepherd could maybe have done with some time out. I think confidence might be an issue with him.
Yeah.
I think there is a good defender in there. I just think, when you've been shipping goals as much as we have, I think your confidence is not going to take a knock. And then, yeah, Scott Banks, at the time, mate, I couldn't see any reason why they dropped him, to be honest, because I thought he'd been a fairly consistent player. Maybe it was just due to him being rested, or Connor wanted to rest him because we've got a lot of Saturday Tuesdays coming up. So, yeah, there were a few questions about lineup, but overall it was just... I just thought it would maybe just due to being resting, mate. That's all I thought at the time.
Yeah. What about yourself, Dan? So I mean, personally, I thought it was time for Shep to come out of the team. I think listening to Connor's interview, we said he were waiting for the right time. They were going to do it after the Peter Brigade, but we won. So it kept him in for the Peter Brigade, and then we won the Peter game, so it kept him in for Huddersfield. Then he didn't have the best performance against Huddersfield. So, I mean, I thought it was the right decision. And as far as me with Banksy, it was just more. He looked tired against Huddersfield. We've got quite a few games coming up, so I think he's just managing legs, like Dan said there. What do you think, pal?
Yeah, I kind of had mixed feelings when I saw it line up because obviously we have said that Shepherd needs a rest, and he did need a rest. He needs taking out a firing line, and the replacement was very, very good yesterday. MDG, I thought he was excellent all game. Didn't put a foot wrong, so good decision. I didn't like seeing Watson at left back again. We've talked about him before, drifting out of position and things like that, and it's not his most comfortable position on the field. But yesterday he did okay, to be fair. Obviously, Gent needs to be dipped in and out because he's not 100% yet. And there's probably games this week where it might suit Gent better, where we get more of the ball and we're trying to get up the pitch a bit better. And then into midfield, like you say, I love seeing Banks in our team, but I could understand it. We're going to have 2 home games this week where we have a lot more of the ball. And I think that he's going to be more utilised in those games as opposed to this one. So I got it. I understood it. The replacements coming in, I have no problems with. I like Bland next to Connell. Phillips going to the right is pretty good. It gets him up the pitch and it allows him to do attacking things, which he does very well. So, yeah, all in all, after I thought about it, pretty happy with the lineup, mate.
Yeah, me too. I thought it looked. I really like Philo out there. I mean, I prefer Philo more in an attacking position in the middle, but I think he plays on the right really well as well. Sort of in that right attacking right wing role, whatever you would call right attacking midfielder role. And again, lovely balling for Didzy. Patrick Kelly's picked up that ball in the middle. He's a good run, and for once, as good as Kelly is, he's timed his pass to perfection into Philo. And I thought at first he might take a shot from edge area, but he's just waiting for them defenders just to go past. Didzy's timed his run. Lovely ball, lovely finish, and I think Connor's proved himself right there by putting Philo out there. Yeah. So I mean, for me, we'll get on to the first half because it were very much a mixed bag for me. The first half, I thought we started a bit slow, a bit sloppy. And then we're going to got that great goal I've just said there. Really good, lovely move. Such a lovely move. A really good goal. Great finish by Didzy again. We'll get onto Didzy in a bit, man, because he's just unbelievable. But great finish for the first goal. And then I thought for the rest of the half we were a bit crap, really. You know, I'm sure we're going to come on to it. So, I'm going to come to you, Anne, about the the goal that we conceded. I mean, it's a poor free kick to give away. We'd given 2 or 3 away in dangerous areas already, and I actually shouted at the TV, "We fucking stop giving away free kicks," and that we're right on that, and that's the one that we conceded with. So I'll come to you then for Anne. If you can just want to give me your thoughts on the goal that we conceded.
Yeah, I mean it's a terrible, terrible error. We've spoke about Goodman in recent weeks, and we stuck up for him a little bit, and then we've slowly started to turn his feelings, I think, haven't we, over last week or two?
Yeah,
And that is an unacceptable attempt to save a free kick. I mean, I won't mind. You could say that maybe he thought he were going to drift it to back post, but
yeah,
he's made the adjustment with his feet, and his arms just haven't done anything. It's just like they're so weak trying to palm that ball away. Pretty similar to the thing he did against Ryan Hardy last week, although that was a better strike. This was so slow. I mean, I really felt like I could save that personally. It was a really, really weak shot. And it's just the individual area that we're used to seeing week on week from somebody in that back line. And this week it were Goodman. Not good
yeah.
enough for me. He did make up for it a little bit in the second half with some decent handling, some good punching, and a good save from Karoma. But you just can't be letting goals like that in at this level. You just can't, in my opinion.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, totally agree, mate. Dan, what's your thoughts
Yeah,
on it?
I mean, first half, I mean, like I were a bit like you, Ryan, in the sense where it did feel a bit slow. It did feel like we were trying to sit off a little bit and try and hit them on the counter, which works when you've been able to get the ball. I think that I weren't too much bothered about the kind of fouling aspect, because I think with Leyton Orient, they do like trying to string moves together. And
Yeah,
when that weren't working, you could tell it was frustrating him a little bit, which I had no particular problem with. Obviously, you don't want to see a free kick being given away in those sorts of positions, but if it stops forward play, then you've got to take rough with smooth. I think that when that free kick, I mean, I've tried to defend Goodman because I try and defend Goodman bit on the basis that I'm like, well, you need to probably look at the front for the players that's managed to get into those positions for Goodman to either feel under pressure and make a mistake or have a rash judgment or whatever. And I've sort of not defended him, but been relatively kind about him, but with that free kick, it were atrocious. There's no defending that. He should have got across quicker. His positioning were all wrong. I mean, it weren't so bad. You could see what lad from Leyton Orient, you could see what he was trying to do. He was trying to catch Goodman out, but I think it was such a tame effort in the end, and Goodman could not get down. And Goodman, he couldn't get down. He got down. I think he'd mistimed his dive for a start off, and then I think he'd misjudged power at shot, because I think he's tried to tip it right I think he's tried to tip it in front of him or tip it right post, and his hands have just flailed at it, and sort of, and I kind of thought at that point, I was like, here we go again, story is our demise, you know what I mean? But I think up to that goal and even a little bit afterwards, I thought, to be fair, Ryan, I thought we defended relatively well. We weren't getting Leyton Orient clear chances. We're getting ball in box and we were dealing with it. We were a bit under cosh. But I think we dealt with it relatively well up to that goal. And first half, it was a bit disappointing to go in there when it were 1-1, because I thought we did deserve a little bit. Maybe from a defensive perspective, we didn't deserve to concede a goal.
yeah,
But yeah, second half. Well, thank God, second half we ended up putting we ended up putting in a good performance and showing some good character, which I'm sure we're about to get on to in a minute.
We are, yeah. I just want to have my say. I don't want to be too harsh and point the finger at the goalkeeper, because often when there's goals, like Connor rightly pointed out last week in his interview, when it was Adam Oxley asked him about the 2 errors that Goodman made against Huddersfield, and rightly so. Connor mentioned that, yeah, okay, that's fine, but you've got to remember there's usually 5 or 6 different players that are not doing their job in order for them to get to that point and have that shot, which is true. Which is true. We could have defended that first goal against Huddersfield much better. We could have defended the second goal a lot better. But Goodman has to do better with both of them once it becomes his territory. But I have to say, yesterday were just that were him. That were all him, and he gets it all wrong. He gets it all wrong. As I'm a, like you say, I'm a member of the goalkeepers union. I'll fight a goalkeeper's corner until I'll die on that hill. You know what I mean? But he gets it so wrong. He's way over. He's too far over. The shot is tame. He's just off to the right of centre. He's not quick. You can see, like you said, Dan, you can see what he's tried to do. He's tried to put it in corner. He's tried to catch him out because he's so far over. He's tried to put it in corner, but he's not got it exactly right. He's just to the right of centre. It's when he dives as well. He dives and there's an arch in his body. He's when you with a low shot like that, you've got to get yourself across. You've got to almost sweep across the ground to cover yourself. So even if anything with either ricochets or it's going to hit your body. And he doesn't. He just sort of like loops over the top of it, and his hand's not in the right position. He doesn't get anywhere near it, and it goes in. It's a horrendous goal. It's the worst. It's worst I've seen him concede. It's so poor. There's so much wrong with his technique there across the whole piece. So, but like you said, he's made a good save in second half. So and he did seem to he was fouled a couple of times actually. When he was coming out for the ball and making the punches, that referees, and he actually got there. But he was impeded on a couple of occasions. The one where he caught it and he actually dropped it, but he was definitely impeded. And there was another one where he's come out and he could have caught it, but he ended up having to punch it, and he got a decent punch on it. But again, he was definitely impeded by one of their attackers. But anyway, it didn't end up costing us. So we move on. Let's move on to the second half, because whatever Connor said at half time, we come out and we looked a different team, because we did look quite poor sort of the second half of that first half. Later on, had a lot of the ball. Like you said, Dan, they like to have a lot of ball, and they were building up attacks, but without actually really, causing as many problems. But we come out for that second half. Luke Connell's had a great shot. If that goes in, that's an absolute screamer. And then we really got going, and we got on to Didzy's second and third goal. So coming to you then, Dan. What were your thoughts on the second half, pal?
Again, it were very much like the first, but I think in the sense where we looked a bit more potent going forward, we were moving the ball about a lot better. I think we seemed a lot more structured defensively, and I think the bit that I was most impressed with, the fact that we didn't get Leighton Orient. God's sake, can't get my words out. We didn't give Leighton Orient a sniff. There were a couple of chances in second half that they had where I think there were one where they flicked it onto back, but I can't remember what player it was, but he flicked it onto back, but flicked it over back post, one header. That were a bit disappointing, because I think if it wasn't 3-1 and they were chasing game, I think there might have been somebody who'd made that run onto back post and we would have been in a bit of trouble. Yeah. But I think barring that, mate, I am going to say it. We looked relatively solid defensively, which we cannot say that we have done we haven't done this season. Then we'll go on to goals. I mean, Didzy's just there's no other word for him. I think he's just been an absolute animal for us this season. I think they need to be doing scientific studies on that bloke. They really do. But yeah, we were clinical, took us chances. I can't remember if there were many chances we had other than the goals themselves. I think we had a couple.
Yeah.
I'm not going to. But yeah, I mean, you'll probably talk more on about Didzy, but I'd like to also give mentioned, and this is not me claiming that anybody else will man at match. David Goldrich were the man of the match. The end of story. But I think on a performance perspective, you look at MDG, played really well. He was very solid at back. O'Connell made some great decisions in coming out of position and when they looked like they'd got behind line, and he made some good tackles. He were really, really good. And again, and I've been a massive critic of his of it last few weeks. I think it were another solid performance from Luke O'Connell. Really solid.
Yeah.
Kept he were getting helping out defence. He were building up. He were building up an attack. He did everything that he was supposed to do. He did, and I've got to give a lot of credit to the lad, because I didn't think he were that bad against Huddersfield. Actually, I think he were one of more solid
Yeah.
members. I think I think it was defence that let us down against Huddersfield, if I'm perfectly honest. But yeah, overall, mate, really, really happy with performance. Really,
Yeah.
really solid. Couldn't we
Agreed. Yeah.
should have had, and the only disappointing thing, apart from that chance that Leighton Orient had, I would say that there were one more occasion which they probably should have done better. And then there was the chance I think we should have come away from that game with a clean sheet, because it was, but we were splitting hairs here. End of the day, we got 3 points. We did well. We deserved 3 points, in my opinion,
Absolutely.
and that's what matters most.
Cheers, pal. I'm coming to you then, mate. Second half. And we I'll get your opinions on Didzy, because I mean, he was getting an hat-trick yesterday, and he's just outstanding. The guy's just rolling back the years. Wonderful performance, and actually could have had 4 or 5, because he had that pull back in first half where he's beaten keeper but defenders blocked it. Then he had that one just after he'd scored his hat-trick goal where he's put a lazy leg at it and he's just gone over. I mean, the guy's just outstanding. It's not just his goals; it's his overall footballing ability, and he's just getting better and better and better every time. He's getting better week in, week out, mate. So I'll just take your thoughts on second half then, and mate, what your thoughts on Didzy's performance?
Yeah, just so second half, I just felt like it wasn't like a performance we haven't seen recently. I think it was pretty much a standard Barnsley performance, minus one thing, which was the individual errors. We didn't make any individual errors in that second half.
Yeah.
O'Connell and MDG complemented each other really, really well. I thought quick, agile, more able to turn. Last ditch stuff were good. I just thought the whole. It's not. I feel bad because I feel like I'm criticising Shepherd here, but we spoke about how some of our players are more suited to a 3-back, and I think Shepherd is that person. He doesn't turn very well. He's good at heading the ball. He could probably hit some good diagonals, but I think when you've got small, nippy forwards coming at you, I think he's not agile enough, unfortunately. And I would stay with O'Connell and MDG until they make a mistake. Now, I wouldn't change that.
Yeah.
But yeah, there were just no errors. I just thought it was a solid performance. I mean, the finishing was outstanding from Didzy. Well, first half, Phillips plays a great ball, and it's a good cutback. It's intelligent, but the way he just takes the weight of the pass into his shot to guide it into corner, you don't have to do anything major with it. It's just experience and quality, and it's just right in the corner. Keeper's got no chance. Second one,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just anticipation of where the ball's going to land. You can't teach that kind of stuff. It's kind of a natural thing. When O'Keefe gets to byline, I mean, the cross got a deflection, and it could have gone anywhere really, but he's just in the right position. He knows what could happen, and there he is at the end of it with another clinical finish. And then the last one, again on his weaker foot, comes inside, even slips a little bit, but still gets a quality strike away. What a player.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about the one after he scored a hat-trick goal. That was a penalty. I mean, the guy's got his shirt. He's pulling him back. If he doesn't pull him back by his shirt, it's an easy finish. And the other one, he could have had 5. He really could have had 5. He's absolutely balling at the minute. He's amazing. I can't believe it. And we criticised him a while back, Ryan. And when he did that interview on Radio Sheffield, it felt a bit like he was talking to us. Because we said everything that they said. Oh, he's got no legs. He's not good enough. He can't cut it. And he's took that as fuel. And I fully respect that. And it does make you feel like you've got to be careful criticising people because, on this occasion it's worked. But you've got these people do go on social media. They do listen to what he's saying. I know
Agreed.
Connor does. You can tell that Connor does where he speaks about social media. You got to be careful. And what a way to power up, if you like, for the last 3 weeks of the season. 10 goals in 9 games. That's outstanding. That's
He's
the best
unbelievable.
in English football currently. Amazing. Love him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like I said, I really, really enjoyed second half performance. I thought we'd come out and we hit them really hard at start half. We've gone out and we've got that 2-goal lead, and then we managed it really, really well. Even though they had a lot of ball towards the end of the game, like you said, they didn't have anything really clear. I think it was a good decision to go to a back five from Connor and just see the game out, just see it out, and that's what they did. That's what they did. They frustrated Lane Orient, reduced them to really nothing. They had a lot of the ball, which were a bit not frustrating, but a bit worrying, especially after we were 3-1 up there last year and we ended up losing 4-3. But there's very, very different personnel on both teams, so. I just really pleased with the performance. Like Connor said, we won, but we won differently. And we need a bit more of that. We need a bit more of that. A bit of grit. There's a bit more bite in the team. And I just want to give a special mention to Jürgen Nathan. Young Kelly going off for that injury. That sounds like that's a real worry. That I have to say. I think it looks like his calf. I've pulled my calf or torn my calf, and it won't be back anytime soon. If it's a bad one, it'll be a few weeks at least. Because it's awful. You can't walk for a little while. It feels like somebody's smashing it back at calf with a golf ball or something. It's awful. It's an awful feeling. But anyway, if it is that, then that's a bit worrying. But I thought Yoga Nathan came on, and again, Yoga is so. It can be so different. It can be like, his performance against Liverpool in the Cup was absolutely outstanding. I thought he was one of the best players on field. And then other times he comes on, he looks an absolute liability. But that is one of the things he's really good at when he puts him into midfield, is putting his foot in and getting and being really sharp. And he creates that third goal. That's all him.
Yeah, he does.
It's a bit of a lazy one into the midfield, ball into the midfielder. He's spotted it and he's just come in and absolutely picked his pocket.
I'm a big fan
great
of
ball. Yeah, out to thing, and it's a great ball in. So, yeah, really happy with the performance overall, guys. I think it was very much a needed 3 points. And again, I'm not getting giddy, but a little bit of a slither. Huddersfield getting beat away at Wigan. I'm doing it, mate.
No,
I'm doing
got
it.
stop,
I need a reason to keep going.
It's hope that kills you, for God's sake.
No,
I
keep looking at that table and I just think it's right there, and it's literally
It's
it's
right
like
there.
that bit on Indiana Jones when he's grabbing that idol at the beginning, and he's like that, and
Yeah.
he don't it's like that. It's so close. If we
The
win
delusion is
Tuesday,
real, mate.
it's absolutely on. But I just know that
It is.
we probably won't win Tuesday. It's so frustrating.
Well, that actually leads us nice into the next part where we're going to look at Wycombe. So Michael Duff returning to Oakwell again on Tuesday night. This time in the blue and black of or the blue and dark blue, should I say, of Wycombe Wanderers instead of the blue and white of Huddersfield. He beat us last year as Huddersfield manager 3 times. I want to add. I'll just add that. So he's due. We're due to get one over on as old manager Duff. Having said that, Wycombe's away form is well, actually, it's worse than ours, lads. It's worse than ours. They've played 16 games away. They've only won 2. They've drawn 8 of those, though. So they've drawn 50% of the games away, but they've lost 6, scored 13. So they're scoring less than a goal a game away from home, and they've conceded 20. Their home form, by the way, is absolutely superb. I think that's what's keeping them in where they're keeping them within a sniff of the playoffs themselves. So that said, I think nothing but a win on Tuesday. We always want them to win, but nothing but if we want to actually have any sort of minor chance of maybe nicking back in there towards the back end of the season, we have to beat Wycombe. We have to win. We have to win the game in hand. It's the game in hand, and they're one of the teams that are also sniffing around that playoff area. So nothing but a win will do. So that said, what changes would you make, if any, to the lineup? I'm going to stick my neck out on the block and say the back 4 stays exactly as it is. Coming to you. I'll come to you then, Dan. What's your thoughts, pal?
I agree with you about the back 4. However, the issue that Connor's facing is going to be fatigue. It's going to be resting players, and that is going to be the difficult one. And that's the only thing I can see whether there's going to be a change to that back 4. It's a risk you take, innit? You play it same back 4, and hopefully they're going to perform the same way, and they're going to be all right. Or then you won't risk that back four not being as good as what they are what the good they were on Saturday, and then their confidence going down. Unable to find that consistency in performances. I think changes if it does look like a bad one to Patrick Kelly, if I'm honest. And that's going to be a big loss.
Massive.
However, I do think that maybe we could put. I think Younger Nathan did well when he came on. I agree with you. I'm a big Younger Nathan fan. I like him. I think he's big, tall, not the quickest of players, but he likes putting a tackle in, good at retrieving ball. So it's going to be who fills that position, but I don't think he's a direct replacement for Kelly because Kelly's just a monster, isn't he? Like, he just gets that ball and he only knows where to take. He never runs backwards. He always runs forwards. He only knows one way. So it's going to be a little bit of a difficult one, but that'll be the obvious change because we need to change that. It'll be depending because I don't know much about Wycombe and how they play. If they used to be Wycombe old, it's going to be a bloody hard game. So we'll have to see. Personally, I mean, theoretically, I'd say keep back for the way they are. Young and Nathan comes in for Kelly and try and juggle around midfield. Maybe put Bland in to try and get be a direct replacement for Kelly, but then Bland played right back, didn't he? It seemed like he was sort of drifting into right back for a lot of game against Leyton Orient and being a backup for that. So it was a bit of a difficult thing to get your head round with tactics and stuff yesterday, but it bloody worked. So sod it. I'm happy. I'm perfectly pleased not understanding something as long as it works. So yeah, we'll see. It'll be an interesting one because again, fatigue and those Saturday Tuesday fixtures is a nightmare as a manager, I would imagine.
We've got another 6 games now in. Was it about 19 days or something like that? It was 7 in 22, wasn't it, on Saturday? So we've got to manage fatigue. Having second thoughts, and I'm sure Ant will agree with me on this one, is that I would probably bring Genty into left back. Just to have an actual left back at left back, I think that's probably the best course of action. I would just think we played, we defended so well on yesterday away, that sometimes you don't make changes to a winning team, do you? But obviously we've got fatigue management, and I think put Genty out there on the left. For me in midfield, I would leave Blandy and Connell, and then I'd have Adam Phillips doing Kelly's role, and then put Scott Banks out on the right where Phillips. And that's the changes that I'd made. What's your thoughts on?
Yeah, I think I'd agree with you, Ryan. I think Wycombe, it's a duff side, so you know what you're going to get. It's going to be 3-5-2. They're going to be strong defensively, but we're going to have more of the ball, I would have thought. Looking at their stats, but they do seem to concede a lot of possession away from home. So therefore, I would have Gent because he's better going forward. He works well with Cleary. I would just dip Watson out and then bring him back at weekend, perhaps. Like you said, I think it's a simple change, bringing Banks in and then putting Phillips inside. I'm also a Yoga Nathan fan, but I think this is the way to use him at the moment. He's still 19. I think bringing him on where you need to win the ball back or whatever late in the game, less pressure on him, I think might be better right now. You talk about the Kelly injury. I mean, he didn't limp off. He just walked off. There were no limping. So I'm hoping that it's not as bad as we hope, and maybe a cardiology from Connor, maybe, and he might be okay. Exactly. Fingers crossed, because he's an absolute legend in midfield. I mean, what an engine that kid's got! Up, down, up, down.
Yeah,
and again, like you say, he got some end product this week, which were good. Good, not an assist, but build up, very good. So I'd go with that, and obviously we'll see some familiar faces on Tuesday. I think Corley Woodrow's been starting for Wycombe. He started on Saturday, and we've got to watch Nathan Lowe. But I think Nathan Lowe's a similar player to Ballard, and we kept him pretty quiet. So everything's it's all to play for. I don't think there's any pressure on us now. Barnsley are weird. Like when the window shuts, a lot of players seem to focus a little bit better. Connell had a week out after the window, came back. He's been pretty good since then. Cleary had a bit of a dip, and he's still not 9 out of 10 standard, but he keeps getting goal involvements every week. I think we're in good shape. I do have concerns still. We've got an error in as we know, but I'm quite quite confident about getting a result and maybe getting 5 points away from that 6th place. But, it's hard to get excited, really, isn't it? You've got to take it one game at a time, I think. But yeah, that's
It's
my
about.
team.
I think it's about like it's knowing that we're capable of more. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And if you can, I know Leighton Orient are struggling at the moment, but it weren't an easy game. You could tell that they were an half decent side. I think they're. I think they're a similar side to what we are in the sense where they score quite a few goals, but then they also concede loads of goals as well. So we could have easily gone other way yesterday, and I think we played well. And if we keep that consistency of performance up, we know we're capable of better, being better than what we are. And let's just see where it gets us. And my focus is landing in a better position than what we did last season. I want to preferably be in a top 10 finish. I think that's achievable with what we've got, and we're just going to have to work hard towards the end of the season. My eyes are not on playoffs, but it'd be nice, obviously.
Mine are.
We
I can't stop looking at it. I think we can do it, mate.
Yeah.
But
The delusion is real, Alan. Keep it up, mate. The delusion is real. You've got to. It keeps you going to games.
Listen, on X, I'm trying not to put stuff like it. I'm trying it. I'm having to pull my hand back because I really do think we've done it before, and I think we can do it again. There's always a team that comes through. Always a team.
There is.
I'll
go on, mate. No, go on, Dan.
No, there were a good thing that came out on that, and when you just, I know it's only small things, but when they had that picture in the dressing room afterwards, and they look like they're all together, and they look like, and they were really celebrating win as well, and they went towards away fans. Away fans were loving it, obviously, but you could tell that were a big sort of weight off the shoulders with players. And they were really celebrating it. And these are sorts of things that gives you a push. And these are sort of things that were, we've seen it before when we had Michael Duff as manager, actually, in that season. There were a few games where we were struggling, and then we had Bobby Thomas and Eisted in, and then it just absolutely took off like a rocket. And then we ended up beating Sheff Wednesday at home and getting up. We were in, and, this is the sort of stuff you need. But you need to do it consistently, and consistency has been a little bit of an issue this season.
Yeah.
But if they get that togetherness, it could be a springboard for some stuff. Let's see what happens. And another thing I would like to point out, because things were looking a bit doom and gloom, we are miles off the relegation zone in both points and positions now at the moment. So that's an anxiety alleviated a little bit. So
yes.
I'm trying to be positive, lads. I had a few Guinness last night, so maybe I've got a bit negative and I've got a hangover. But
yeah, right. So we'll come to them. Nothing but a win will do on Tuesday night. I mean, like I said, we always wanted to win, but nothing but a win will do against Wycombe. And I want to get one over. As much as I like Michael Duff, we've got to get one over on him because he's beat us the last 3 times. The last 3 times we've come up against him. So, score prediction. Ant, coming to you first, pal.
I think if we go with the same application we did in that second half, especially on Saturday, I think we can come away with a 2-1 win. But I wouldn't be surprised if it was a draw because we can do draw a lot away.
You do. Dan?
I'm going to go with Ant. I'm going to go 2-1. 2-1 because we're not going to keep clean sheet in a million years. I've stopped hoping about that now. But we do score, and we have got a potential Ballon d'Or winner up front. And he's on fire. Scotty Banks, I think he can still start getting some goals in. So if we play him off right wing, I think he's going to try and get into up score sheet as well. I think he has been trying, poor lad. He deserved a lot more goals than what he's been getting at the moment. So hopefully, let's keep momentum going. Another bit, let's get a win, 2-1, and then we'll start. I might possibly start getting excited. We'll see.
It's like us to beat Wycombe, then go lose to Exeter at home on Saturday.
Yeah.
Anyway, we move on. I'm just going to keep the delusion up. Why not? I'm going to say we're going to get a clean sheet. We're going to beat them 2-0. There you go. Onwards and upwards. So, anybody that's still with us, thanks for sticking with us. I'd like to see, please like, share, and comment below what you thought of the game yesterday, what you think of Didzy, and what you think the score's going to be tomorrow. I'm going to be doing a review show of the Wycombe game, probably on Wednesday or Thursday. But until that point, I'll see you after.